Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode of I Trek. Big shout out to every single person that has just tapped in, man. Hey, in today's episode, we'll be taking a look at how the airport is quietly giving jobs to AI, and we'll also be taking a look at all the shape shifting going on at the Met Gala in broad day. So we'll definitely be taking a look at that, along with a lot of other interesting and creepy clips. But before we do any of that, do me the biggest favor, smash that like button for me, hit that hype button, and if you're not a part of the iTrack fan, man, go ahead and sub up and hit that subscribe button, man. Let's go ahead and get right into it.
Somebody recorded this guy talking to his reflection, and something weird happens. He leans towards his reflection, but his reflection doesn't lean back. Watch. One more time.
So this is to replace the wheelchair people that push you in the airport. This is insane, honestly. I mean, I get it, but like, really? They don't even pay the people that push you in the airport properly.
Hey, mark my words, another 5 years, the Jetsons.
Guys, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, OpenAI, SpaceX, and Nvidia just all signed deals with the Pentagon. And the US military just officially declared themselves an AI-first fighting force. The defense secretary called it a wartime footing and said that every single branch needs to be AI-first from this point forward.
The United States wants to fuse its AI dominance with its military might. Its biggest tech companies are caving into defense contracts worth tens of billions of dollars.
And then the highest ranking military officer in the entire country just said that AI weapons that fight without a human controlling them are going to be, direct quote, a key and essential part of everything we do. Okay. This basically just means AI that would pick targets and make battlefield decisions on its own without a person behind it. And this isn't just for the intelligence anymore, because they're also building AI that controls drone swarms, AI that runs command operations, and also AI that processes every single piece of classified data across every single military branch in real time. And this is all obviously happening right whenever the tensions with Iran seem to be actively escalating. I need to know, what do you guys think about this? Obviously, let us know.
Kind of figured AI was heading in this direction. It might be a plus considering if they put humanoid robots on the front line, that means less people have to risk their lives on the front line. In that regards, this actually might be a plus, but definitely let me know what you think about it.
I don't know what the theme for the Met Gala was this year, but maybe it was humiliation ritual. Some of these outfits, they're some of the craziest that I've seen thus far, okay? Take a look at this. First of all, we have Bad Bunny. He's dressed up as an old man. He's got the gray hair going. He's walking around with a cane. And then next, you have probably the craziest outfit of the whole Met Gala. It's Heidi Klum. She looks almost unrecognizable, and I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to represent, but it's interesting for sure. Next, we have Katy Perry. It looks like she's representing a robot or AI of some sorts because she has 6 fingers, and a lot of the times AI depicts people with 6 fingers. Next, we have Sam Smith. He's always wearing something that is shocking people. He has a sparkly dress and a feather on his head. Some other honorable mentions are Cardi B. A lot of other people wearing some interesting outfits that I have no idea who they are. Kardashians also in attendance. You have Kim Kardashian, and then you have Kris Jenner. Again, I have no idea what the theme is supposed to be, but I have a hard time thinking that a lot of these people are wearing their outfits willingly.
So I was walking down the mall and I noticed Bath and Body Works looks like Epstein's temple. Ain't no way, bro. What?
The only one who thinks this is weird. You guys, look at the date. It's 2026. This guy departed in 2028? What?
footage, a dark figure enters the bottom left corner of the frame. Going frame by frame reveals more unsettling details. The movement itself is one of the strangest aspects. It doesn't move like a person running, it doesn't move like a dog or cat or any common animal you'd expect to see on security footage. There's something unnatural about the way it propels itself across the yard, almost gliding. Some viewers have suggested it could be a large insect close to the camera lens, which can sometimes create the illusion of a much larger object moving at high speed. Others believe it's a wild animal, perhaps a coyote or large cat distorted by the camera's night vision. But a significant number of commenters don't think either explanation fits what they're seeing. What do you think raced across this Ring camera's field of view? A known creature, a camera trick, or something else entirely?
This crazy machine mimics the inside of the Earth to grow diamonds. If you dig deep into the Earth's mantle, you'll enter an extremely hot and goopy and plastic-like rock filled with carbon atoms. These atoms are squeezed together over millions of years by the intense pressure down there. And on the surface, this machine mimics that by taking a super pure carbon powder, adding metal flux, and then heating it up over 1,000 degrees Celsius to create a molten mix like in the mantle. And instead of the weight of the Earth, this machine uses powerful arms to squeeze it together, creating pressure that's equivalent to balancing a commercial airplane on your fingertip. But all that pressure and heat won't make a diamond unless you have this. A tiny little diamond that acts like a seed, giving the carbon atoms something to grab onto. And this speeds up the growing process from millions of years to under a week. But now, there's a whole new way to grow diamonds. To see it, follow along.
These lenses here, play organ music, and there, see the little, what do you think? You have any idea? It's a pinky finger, all right?
It has to do with the occult.
It does.
Yes, it does. That's the truth. I am fascinated by the occult because I think there are too many things in this world that go unexplained. And this happens to be, and I've been involved for the past decade and a half or so. And this is one of the signs of a person who's involved in the occult, that's all. I wish I could make it more mysterious, but I can't. But I think you know that I have been a Jew for 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow the theology of Judaism.
That doesn't conflict at all.
We're being interested in the occult? No, it wouldn't interfere. I'm not getting involved in it. I don't hold rituals and all of that jazz. That's not what I'm talking about. But reading about it, I find fascinating. I want to know what the Bermuda Triangle is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really interested. And it's like reading ancient history. There's always a mystery about it. And I think I'm more involved in that than anything else. I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression that I go like this here, zap, and you gone, you know.
What about your getting into a satanic religion? Believing in the devil?
No. I didn't say I got into it. I said I was involved with it. And I was involved with Satanism based upon the fact that I found the subject matter fascinating to read about. And I got involved in it, as we discussed at dinner. But when it got too heavy, I split.
Now, a lot of people might not know who Sammy Davis Jr. is, but for those who do, bet you didn't know he was on that type of time. I mean, dealing with the devil in any respect is pretty crazy, and especially being so open about it, you know.
Wow. They must be letting a lot of water out of Lake Powell right now. It's so dry right here. We were here last year during Easter, so around the same time. And this rock had water all around it. And there was small boats, paddle boarders, kayakers that were able to boat around the rock and everything. And now it's just all completely dried up again. We've been here now for about a day and a half. We haven't been here for 48 hours yet, and we've been able to watch the water go down just sitting here. We've been keeping an eye on this area right here, kind of watching how far it goes every day. And I don't know if they like continue to let water out to feed different areas. I know this feeds like California and in areas, but I'm not real up on it. If you know, let me know.
I cannot believe saying this, but yeah, this is actually happening. This is all the good news from today in 60 seconds. You know how painful it is waiting for your battery to charge on your phone? Well, there's new battery technologies being invented by companies that could fully charge your phone from dead in under 5 minutes. And no, it's not going to be a massive power bank. It uses advanced materials that can handle higher energy flow without even overheating, meaning your phone could charge quicker than it takes you to make a coffee. And this could then be rolled out to all the major phone providers. Please, because I need it. The ozone layer, which protects Earth from harmful radiation, as we all know, reportedly is now healing much faster than expected originally, only down to bans on certain chemicals worldwide. Scientists even say if this continues, it could fully recover in the next few decades, potentially even still in your lifetime. This is crazy and something we don't think about. Global data recently has actually shown that extreme poverty has steadily declined over the last few years, with millions and millions of more people now gaining access to better living conditions and basic human conditions. Healthcare and education has become a lot bigger, and this is reportedly one of the biggest long-term improvements in human history. There is new devices being made by scientists that can pull clean drinking water from thin air. Can they pull money from thin air? That would be nice. Even in dry climates, apparently. How? They're using advanced filters and condensation systems that are being built and spending a lot of money on it, but it is actually working. They're managing to get water basically from the atmosphere, and this could mean areas with little water around the world can become self-sufficient, and everybody can have water. Make sure to hit the follow button. I'll keep you posted.
We're no longer in a water crisis. We're in a global water bankruptcy. A new UN report says the world has drained its water savings account. We're using and polluting more water than nature can replace. And water systems in many regions can't recover to what they used to be. Over half of the world's large lakes have shrunk since the 1990s. 35% of wetlands have gone since 1970, and 4 billion people face severe water scarcity at least 1 month a year. Those at the forefront are small farmers, indigenous communities, and low-income families, while the most powerful have benefited from overuse. The goal now is to protect what's left and restructure systems that are no longer sustainable.
Here, check it out, family. 2026, I told y'all the veil is gone. It's Nathan there, Nathaniels. Now we got shit popping off over there in the Asian area, and it look like some shit straight out of Harry Potter. Look at that. And this is not AI, by the way. But y'all let me know what y'all think and feel about this in the comments, because on Phono Grave, shit is crazy.
The US is finally cutting Europe off, with Trump announcing this two-step plan to withdraw the American military from EU countries. For decades, Europe has relied on the goodwill of the American taxpayers to fund their military protection at no cost to themselves, and what's worse is instead of being grateful for the trillions of dollars we've spent on them, many in the EU see fit to instead criticize and work against the US on the world stage. Past presidents have endured this as they believed it was necessary to keep the region safe, but Trump has had enough and finally decided to let Europe fend for itself. In the first phase of his plan, he began delaying shipments of military equipment to NATO allies, with the UK, Poland, and Lithuania being hit the hardest as the Pentagon held back missile defense systems and advanced munitions. Then the White House announced that due to the lack of support from and often hostile response of certain EU governments to the US invasion of Iran, we will begin to withdraw thousands of troops from military bases across the continent, starting with Germany before possibly moving on to Spain and even Italy.
In the latest humanoid robot news this week, 2 companies just made moves that change how close we are to robots in your house. Figure AI's CEO Brett Adcock just announced they scaled production 24 times in 120 days, going from 1 robot a day to about 1 robot every hour. They're cranking out 55 humanoids this week alone, with over 350 already delivered and end-of-line yields above 80%. Then 1X drops a cinematic video called Building Your Neo, video showing their factory in Hayward, California, NVIDIA-powered chips, and pushing pre-orders for their home robot. Neo ships late 2026, costing around $20,000 to own or $499 a month to subscribe, and the entire first year of production sold out in just 5 days. Are you ready to own one of these?
So you're telling me that these urban explorers find a secret cave system in what looks like an abandoned well in the woods and find children's clothes on the inside of this? Now y'all, that ain't all they find. It looks like this well may have collapsed on itself and exposed this system of tunnels. And these tunnels are obviously man-made. They look like they were dug out. But here are the children's clothes. They look almost brand new. They found a hat. They found this little pair of overalls. It looks like it belongs to a toddler. And then they capture this on video when they're showing us these different tunnels. Right here. Did you see it? Now they pan over and you can see what looks like a head coming out of the side of this tunnel. It's almost the same color as the walls, but it has bright red glowing eyes. And it just disappears into a wall. Now it makes me wonder if this thing has something to do with these children's clothes that they found in these tunnels. Now when you slow it down and brighten it up, you can really see more of its facial features. You can kind of see its mouth. You can see its eyes glowing. There it is going into the wall, and then it almost turns into like a smoke. Now these people obviously did not see it at the time. They left the cave system after like 5 hours of exploring it. Like 5 hours after recording this thing. Now obviously this video raises way more questions than answers. They didn't see this until after they posted about it. Their viewers on TikTok pointed it out to them. If you want to go see the full video, go check it out on their page. But what is this thing? Why is there a cave system down here? And why are there children's clothes down here? What's y'all's thoughts on this one? Let me know.
The President of the United States, a congresswoman, and a former intelligence official are all saying the exact same thing right now. UFO files are supposed to be coming, and they include things that you would not believe. Okay. So President Trump went on camera just 2 days ago and he basically said that he has personally seen UFO evidence and that it includes, direct quote, things that you wouldn't believe.
They want to find out about the UFOs and anything having to do with UFO or related material, and we're going to be releasing a lot of things from.
So what does that mean? He then said that disclosure is coming very, very soon and that he already signed an executive order back in February forcing every single agency to hand over what they have. Give it to me. But he's actually not even the only one saying this right now, because the chairwoman of the House UFO Task Force just came out of a classified briefing and said that she saw evidence of objects that were not made by mankind. She then demanded 46 classified videos from the Pentagon by April the 14th, and then the Pentagon basically just ghosted her. So that's insane. And then on top of all of that, there's a former intelligence official who testified under oath in front of Congress. And he's saying that the files involve sentient non-human intelligence. That's a sworn government witness saying that on record. It's not a Reddit conspiracy theory. Those UFO files are supposed to be coming soon. Multiple different people have said it, and when they do, I will obviously cover it immediately. Just make sure that you are already adding me and you go ahead and add me now so you don't miss it whenever that comes out.
The more information that comes out about these files, the UAPs, the extraterrestrials, the more it sounds like this might be wilder than we all could imagine.
This was just posted by the President of the United States. I'm going to read it exactly as it was written. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, and unidentified flying objects, UFO, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. Okay, let's break that down a bit. That is a public directive statement about identifying and releasing government files related to UAPs, UFOs, and extraterrestrial life. I have not yet seen an executive order number or formal declassification memo attached. That does matter. If this becomes formal policy, it would trigger an interagency review process. And that means that intelligence communities have to coordinate classification audits and national security exemptions. That process is slow and selective, but it's the beginning of a bureaucratic pathway for sure, if this moves forward, of course. The next thing to watch for isn't the headlines, it's not the hype, it's documentation. If an executive order or a formal filing appears, that's when this becomes real policy. Stay tuned, I'll be watching.
The guy who invented the internet could have made billions of dollars, but he lost it all with one decision. So this guy is named Tim, and he invented the World Wide Web in 1989. And he literally owned it. Imagine for a second owning the internet. But at first, his invention wasn't even the biggest. There was a competing system called Gopher that was actually more popular. But Gopher made one fatal mistake. They announced that they were going to charge licensing fees, and the entire internet community completely turned on them. But Tim saw this coming, so he convinced his legal team to do the exact opposite and release the entire thing on the public domain completely free, forever. And by the way, the www that you see at the beginning of literally every website, that stands for the World Wide Web. That's literally Tim's invention. It's on basically every website that has ever existed, but what got built on top of that is insane. Google, Amazon, Meta, Apple, Netflix, all of these companies got built off of Tim's invention that he made for free. The global internet economy generates something like $30 trillion a year. So imagine if Tim just charged a 1% royalty on that. He would be collecting hundreds of billions of dollars per year. That's Elon Musk's entire net worth that he would just be collecting in yearly revenue. I mean, he could have even tried to charge a 0.1% royalty or a 0.0001% royalty, and he still would have been a billionaire. But no, he chose to give it away for free, and he saw zero of the upside. So follow for more stories about money like this, or you might never see me again.
Hey, getting that rich, you're asking for way too much trouble, way too much headache, man.
So what if all these missing and dead scientists aren't missing and dead at all, but rather they're collectively working on a singular project together? The question then no longer is where did they go, but rather what are they doing? And if they're doing so willingly, what makes it worth leaving the world behind to do it? Drawing this conclusion takes a lot of research because you can't simply say, well, the government's just taking them all out because they're about to spill the beans on something important. It now becomes, what are their specific roles and why them? One of my followers did the work to figure that out. And the conclusion is quite compelling. Now, I'll extrapolate on this further, but let's first look at what the specific roles of each of these scientists might be should they be working on a project together. It starts with the mission commander, Major General McCasland. Now, he oversaw classified Air Force space weapons programs, and he was really probably the only one that would have had the access and clearance to run an entire operation like this. Next, we've got the lead plasma physicist, Nuno Lauriero. Now, he was the director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center, and he'd be responsible for the engine powering a directed energy weapon. Do you know where I'm going with this yet? Next, we have Amy Eskridge, who was a plasma physicist, and she would be responsible for the propulsion and anti-gravity research. Now, she had her own academy for exotic technology.
This is the internet, guys. Yeah, you don't know this. You think that the internet is just that you go on the computer and then boom, the internet is there. No, actually, the internet is undersea cables that connect the entire world. And unfortunately, there's a war going on right here, guys. And unfortunately, it's really easy for Iran to cut off the undersea cables, which would lead to internet disruption for maybe 20-30% of the world. Okay? Africa, Northern Africa, India, the Middle East, maybe parts of Europe would lose internet access. You think, okay, well that's fine. They just won't watch Netflix anymore. No, guys, okay? The entire global economy is based off the cloud. So if you want to bank, if you want basically finance, okay? So this is going to have a huge impact in the world. And this can happen anytime, where for whatever reason, there's a war going on in the Strait of Hormuz, some cables get cut off, and then suddenly you've lost internet access. And this would basically cause major disruptions throughout the world.
They said, here's your packet.
They must be doing that in select areas because I still haven't seen any drones delivering packages. If you are in the city that they're doing that, definitely tap in and let me know what the experience was like.
Is Atlantis real?
Yes.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, I'm part of a team, and I can't say much about this, that have researched Plato's dialogues where he discusses it. And if you do the archaeology basically around with the information he shares about the nature and geography and geology of Atlantis, we believe that there's data that is convincing that it existed and somehow encountered its demise through a catastrophic geological event around the Younger Dryas period, 12,900 or so years ago. And we're compiling the data to prove it, and we think we found the location on the seafloor where it is. And if we get a remotely operated vehicle with a camera, we might be able to even identify human-made structures that would be the proof.
You know what? I just want to volunteer if you need a journalist on that sub. I am right there with you. I accept the risks. That sounds very cool.
Check.
One of the worst things that could ever happen while you're on the cruise is happening right now. You have a cruise ship in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean where there is a hantavirus outbreak. You heard what I just said? There are 149 people stuck on a cruise ship right now, and they can't dock that cruise ship because certain people on that cruise ship are carrying the hantavirus. 6 people have been infected. 3 people died. So this outbreak took place on a boat called the MV Hondias. It was sailing between Argentina and Cape Verde. You have 2 people on this boat that's seriously ill. The virus, again, killed 3 people. You have 1 person who's hospitalized. And that 1 patient that's hospitalized is in critical condition. They're saying this virus, the hantavirus, comes from feces and rodent urine. Mind you, these people are just trying to get off this boat. And they are not letting these people off this boat because they don't want to contaminate another population. Listen to this shit. Listen to this.
On board the MV Hondias, and what's happening right now is very real for all of us here.
This shit is crazy.
We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people. People with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. There's
crazy.
a lot of uncertainty, and that's the hardest part. All we want right now is to feel safe,
This shit is crazy.
to have clarity,
It's crazy.
and to get home.
And this is why I always say you got to be careful while you're on those waters. Because once you're on those waters, if something happens on those waters, you might not be able to come out of those waters. These people cannot go home right now. I'm out.
Wow, it's hard to tell what that thing is at this distance, especially through all the heat haze, but it looks pretty crazy. They got it rotating on that pylon pretty fast too. Well, the pole just kind of tilted back, so I'm thinking that means it's about to retract down below. Boy, I caught this thing just in time because I haven't been watching it here for very long. Yep, there it goes. They're starting to pull it back under, down into the prep chamber. Wow, it's so crazy to see it retract. As I was packing my things up, I noticed an interesting flatbed truck arrive. Presumably this is what carried the airframe to and from the test chamber. Oh yeah, so we got this truck stopped and now it's backing down into the underground area. So the prep chamber door is out of view, but presumably this truck's going to back all the way in and load up the airframe on it. So after the truck left, I broke camp and headed back to my car, upon which I noticed apparently I made a new friend. This extremely sociable desert tortoise wandered into my camp area and kept following me around. It's funny, I'd seen some signs mentioning desert tortoises in this area, but this is the first one I'd actually seen. Yeah, good boy. After I played with him for a bit, I looked on the horizon and I noticed I had another visitor. This one looked a little bit less friendly. Evidently, one of the vehicles from inside the facility had exited the back gate and seemed to be taking a little bit more of an active interest in me, something I hadn't really seen before. Yeah, I just kind of parked on the road there watching me. If I wanted to leave right now, he would have to move because that's like the one way out.
That sinkhole that ate this Illinois soccer field happened to your house. It would be more probable than what they found in these vases. These are ancient Egyptian vases made out of granite. Some engineers saw this and said, hey, those are too precise. So they measured them. They were too precise for mechanical measurements, so they laser scanned them. The laser scan wasn't precise enough, so then they CT scanned them with an X-ray. CT scans are micron precise. That is a human hair. CT scans get that precise. You can see that level of detail. Here's one of them. Green means that if it was going on an airplane, it would be considered perfect. If I gave you a pencil with a micron thin tip, a perfectly straight line would be green. You're off by 3 microns, that's yellow. These are designed using circles. The pattern is based on sacred geometry. It's called radial traversion. It just means that every curve on that vase is a harmonic ratio, like music. They tested the mathematically perfect pattern on a digitally designed vase. The difference between the perfect digital one and the Egyptian one was 9 microns. They then found out that
I think the most interesting and mysterious thing about ancient Egypt is that we still haven't figured out how they were able to do everything that they did, even with all the technology that we have today. It's wild.
What the hell is going on with this tree?
Looks like a monster trying to come out, doesn't it? It looks like he's trying to crawl out. It fucking does. That's scary. Shut the fuck up.
There's the moon. But look at the trees. Don't they seem like they have faces? I see like 5 faces in the trees. Wow. I'm telling you, the trees really have eyes. Like, look, that one's like rolling its eye. God, like, why do you always have to take pictures?
So I'm walking along here, and I run into this tree with this stupid grin on his face. It's just like the most perfect tree face I've ever seen.
Did you know that if you take tweezers, grab an eyelash, rotate it very gently and slowly pull it out, then place it underneath a microscope, you will see Demodex mites still moving just like this? I'm sorry and you're welcome.
And remember, if you don't eat, you don't fart, and if you don't fart, you die.
This is for entertainment purposes only. Don't take anything that I say for the truth. These are conspiracy theories. In 1962, we tried to punch a hole in the sky. We called it Operation Fishbowl. But what the history books hide is that we were warned 15 years earlier that if we touched the ceiling would hit us back. To understand the 1962, we have to go back to 1947 to a man called Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Byrd was not only an explorer, he was a witness. In 1947, during the flight over the ice, he didn't find more cold. He found an entrance. He described his plane being caught in an invisible grip and led him to a city of shimmering lights. There he met a being called the Master. The Master didn't speak with words. He spoke with resonance. He told Byrd that they had been watching us since we split the atom in 1945. He said we were playing with fire. His message was a final notice. Stop the atomic madness, or your civilization will face a dark age. Byrd flew home and rushed to the Pentagon. He told the leaders of our world that there were powers beyond the ice, that we could blink out of our existence. Byrd flew home and he rushed to the Pentagon. He told the leaders of our world that there were powers beyond the ice that could blink us out of existence. They reacted by seizing his journals, put him under a permanent gag order, and spent the next decade spinning a web of lies. The politicians, the generals, they didn't want peace. They wanted the Master's power for themselves. They decided that instead of listening to the warning, they would test the fence. July 9th, 1962, Operation Fishbowl. We strapped a nuclear hammer to a rocket and slammed into the ceiling at 250 miles up. We found out that in seconds, the sky didn't just absorb the hit. It discharged a massive wave of energy, traveled down the magnetic lines, and slammed into Hawaii. The streetlights blew out, telephone lines were dead, and the world's radio voice was silenced. But that wasn't all. The discharge fried 1/3 of every satellite in the sky. It was a system-wide warning. Enlil has just electrified the fence to show us who really owns the sky. After 1962, the management realized they couldn't hide the master or the ceiling if people kept exploring. So Enlil made his final move. He forced the world's leaders to sign the Antarctic Treaty, and suddenly the entire bottom of our world was declared forbidden. No one is allowed to explore it. No one can cross the ice wall. It became the only place on Earth where every nation and even enemies agreed to work together, because the ice is the grounding wire for the entire frequency fence. Enlil locked the door, pulled the curtain, and told the workforce the sky is empty and the ice is off limits. Enlil, he owns the map, but remember, he doesn't own your soul.
Broadly speaking, we expect to make two kinds of chips. One will be optimized for edge and inference, so that'll be used primarily in Optimus and in the cars, but especially in Optimus, because I expect the robots, humanoid robots, to be made 10 to 100 times more than the volume of cars. So, you know, if vehicle production on Earth is about 100 million vehicles a year, and I expect humanoid robot production to be somewhere between 1 billion and 10 billion units a year. So it's a lot. Yeah, Tesla's going to make a very significant percentage of those, is our goal.
You know, it's also good to pay attention to all these robot building companies that don't plan on slowing down their production of robots, even though there's wars going on, even though there's all kind of turmoil going on in the world. It definitely says a lot.
So yesterday was May Day, the founding date of the Bavarian Illuminati. But what do you really know about the Bavarian Illuminati? And did you know they still continue this day, just under a different name? So first, let's get into that date, and then we'll talk about how they are actually still here under your nose right now, and you can't even see them. So let's watch how weird this is. 1776, we had the founding of the Bavarian Illuminati. But the same exact year, 1776, we had the founding of the government of America. They both were 1776. Of course, you know we're heading to this 250th year celebration, which is a lot bigger than you actually think it is. People are still waking up to this, but many don't know. 1776 was the start of our civilization, and all these Tartarian type buildings and all this stuff that we could never build today. That's when we started finding all this stuff, because something massive happened in 1776. But this video is not about that. Neither is it about the orphan trains that supplied America its youth when everything was completely empty. So we had the Bavarian Illuminati, founded by Adam Weishaupt, who was actually a member of the Society of Jesus, which, by the way, has nothing to do with Jesus at all. It's a very fine inversion. By the way, the Society of Jesus also had a strong pull in the Civil War in the United States and a whole bunch of other conflicts. So the story goes that the Bavarian Illuminati's male was traveling with a horseman, and that horseman was struck by lightning and took him out, and he found the letter and found the plans for world domination. Then the Russian Khazar leader found out of this world plan to take over everything with enlightenment, and then he disbanded the Bavarian Illuminati. But the story does not stop there. And then we have this family, the Red Shields. You might know their counterpart today. And what they did was they rebranded the Bavarian Illuminati, and they rebranded it under Scottish, which is completely different than the original. I mean, basically what it is, if you want to just go ahead and knock out every bird with every stone, it's the ancient mystery schools. It's all occultism packed in one. It's all these different deities to find the last deity at the 33rd degree. Eastern mysticism and all the original secrets in the First Order. Now, what's funny about all of this is the Red Shield was also, it's the one disputed royal bloodline, and they're also part of the Society of Jesus. You starting to see the picture? You know, all roads lead to Rome, literally. Long story short, this secret society never left, but it transformed into a different one, mixed with old ones, and also all these brotherhoods and fraternities in these colleges, all one giant cult. If you want a way more in detail version of the video, maybe I'll make it on YT. Let me know. Here's a little bonus for you. Albert Pike wrote in his book Morals and Dogma, Revered 33rd Degree, that Masonry is an inner brotherhood concealed by an outer brotherhood who does good things and they raise money for charitable causes, stuff like that. The saying goes, whether it's Society of Jesus or the other thing we talked about, it's always the 1% at the top of that pyramid.
At the end of the day, if you want to find out which secret society still exists and which don't, You just gotta follow the money. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for always stopping by, watching, and learning with me. If you haven't already, do me the biggest favor and hit that like button for me, smash that hype button, and subscribe if you're not already part of the iTrack fam, man, and I will definitely catch you on the next one.